Let's do it.
Hello!
Hello!
And welcome
to Sort of the Story.
This is my beautiful and talented and very smart friend named Max, and you better fucking respect her.
And this is Janey, my non-romantic life partner who I would kill or die for 1,000 times over. And if you can't respect her, then you can't respect me. And if you can't respect me, you better get ready for a knuckle sandwich, baby.
We're gonna fucking get you behind the parking lot. This is starting out hot.
I'm gonna throw you in the dumpster outside of a Quiznos.
We are the two millennials that your aunt was warning you about that are like platonically moving in together and becoming life partners.
Mm-hmm.
And like buying homes together.
Yeah. And
we bought a house. I forgot to tell you.
Oh my god.
I'm so sorry.
Well, I forgot to tell you that I'm domesticating a raccoon as a pet for the two of us.
I knew that. His name is Alex. He digs through the...
Please don't call my fiancé a raccoon.
He digs through the trash, but only sometimes now. Domesticated.
Anyways, this is Sort of the Story, the podcast where we tell each other stories, and also you are here.
And also, you are here.
Welcome. We're glad you're here.
I think that was the best intro we've ever done.
That was
Honestly,
a good one.
That was a 10 out of 10.
I really appreciate that we started it off by threatening to kick the shit out of our listeners.
We're gonna fucking kill you.
Hey, what's your mom's name?
Hey, we know your mom's name, because we fucked her last night.
Anyways,
platonically.
this podcast isn't for kids.
Oh my God. If you're a child, get out.
I have too much energy. I have not had my ADHD meds in a week, and I just got them last night, and so I got to take it this morning. And also I drank 4 cups of coffee today because I was on the phone with my dad, and we got talking about politics. And so I am talking too fast, too loud, and also too quiet.
Too fast, too furious.
Too fast, too furious, baby. Family.
Only family. Hey, it may sound like we're making fun of it, but if you make fun of it, I'll kick the shit out of you because Fast and Furious is the best franchise ever made.
That said, it is very silly, so if you can't make fun of it, I'll kick the shit out of you.
What's wrong with you?
I'm
You
just
can't
saying
make fun of family?
Sounds like a toxic family.
Maybe
brother.
Fucking find another family friend. Anyway, I'm going first this week.
Let's tell some stories.
Fucking let's get into this. Is gonna be a wild episode. It's
I'm
either
excited.
gonna be 40 minutes long because of how excited you are, but I'm also very excited, and my story's not that long. Or it's gonna be 3 hours long. There is no in between, and I'm excited to figure it out.
I have 2.5 stories, so it's gonna be long.
Ooh, okay, let's go.
Almost as long as your mama's dick.
Hey, that's really cool of you, coming from such, like, a diverse family. This is kind of nice.
Yeah, your family is beautiful, and we support you.
We support...
The open communication and love that comes from your family is truly the stuff of fairy tales.
And you know what? We support any mom with a dick.
Yeah.
That's true.
We support any and all moms, dads, with, without, or any combination thereof, penises, vaginas, etc.
Mommies, daddies, and non-binary baddies. Whoa, what? Anyway,
T-shirt.
I'm gonna go first. Please, listen. Why aren't you listening to this podcast? We want to get paid to make merch.
Okay, let's make a podcast.
Okay. No.
Let's do it.
Listen to the podcast. God damn it.
Okay.
This is the wrong audience to tell them to listen to it.
Yeah.
I'm starting. Okay, Max.
Okay, Janey.
Max, okay.
Janey, okay.
Okay, so last week I used this beautiful book, Epic Tales, African Myths and Tales. Shouldn't have the word tales in there twice.
I think it's
Epic Tales.
African Myths and Tales.
Oh! So they spelled one of the tales wrong. I get it.
Ah.
No,
no, they didn't. They
didn't.
spelled the same way.
Yeah, Epic Tales, African Myths and Legends. Oh, I said legends, it's tales. So
Epic Tales, African Myths and Tales.
Epic Tales, African Myths and Tales. An anthology of classic tales. And I put the word tales 3 times for some reason in my notes. I'm fully losing it. I really love this book, but I do feel like doing my whole flip and point and then present really hurt me on this book, because immediately I picked a tale that I liked, but that I had to go into, like, child brides and child marriages and, like, the dark world of underage marriages, and that is a bummer, and I don't think represents this book very fairly. So I'm going in and I'm telling you another tale from this book of tales today. And the book is called The Road to Heaven.
Ooh.
Yeah, and I'm really excited about this one.
So this is the opposite of The Road to Hell through marrying a skull.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Oh, that's really weird because the spirit land really does seem like hell in that other story. Yeah, no, we're going straight up to heaven, baby. This is from the Ranga-speaking people in Mozambique. And this is a delightful tale.
I love it. I'm excited.
Stop saying tale. Okay, so once there was a girl, and she was sent by her mother to fetch water. And she was out there fetching the water. She had this big, beautiful jar, and she was with her friends. And as happens when you are with your friends and hanging out and holding something breakable, she got distracted on the way back and dropped the jar. And it shattered everywhere. Yeah, and all her friends were like, oh! And then they all just started drawing on her forehead. It was really disrespectful.
Rude.
Excuse me. Where'd you all get those permanent markers? You just carried them on our walk, expecting to break something?
I was gonna let it go, but just out of curiosity, when people do a party foul in your world,
yeah, they draw penises on your forehead.
I don't think that's what happens when you have a party foul.
Have I been assaulted?
I don't think that's what's supposed to happen. I think that I've always heard it's like if you drop your drink in it and your glass breaks, a party foul.
Yeah.
Then you have to get another of the same drink and chug it. Wait a minute. Neither of these are good.
If you have a party foul, you just help clean it up, okay? You don't have to punish your friends. They're already your friends.
Yeah.
There's no hierarchy needing to be established. So, basically, she dropped this big jar of water. Mm-hmm. And it broke. And this is like a jar that's really hard to replace. It's like this big, beautiful jar. It's been in her family for a long time. And so she was like terrified to go home. She was like, I don't want to tell them that I broke this jar. They're going to draw penises on my forehead. Or make me...
Family.
Or make... Family. Or they're going to make me chug another full jar of water. That's too much water. That's enough for the family.
Sure.
So, her friends go on ahead, I assume to go tell her mom what happened, like, ha! And she starts crying, and she cries out, and this is I'm going to attempt to say this phrase in Ranga, but I'm going to do a bad job, so I'm very sorry, but it's Bukali Bla Ngoni, and it means, I wish I had a rope!
Oh.
I don't know what that means either. I don't know what it means. I don't know if this is a common saying. It sounds like she's like, I want to die.
It does sound like that.
Right? I tried looking it up and I was like, or maybe she's like, I wish there was like a rope away from here. I wish I had like an escape rope. I wish I could Mission Impossible this bitch.
I too often feel, I wish I could have a rope drop dead in front of me anytime I'm in an awkward social situation so that I could just shimmy up it.
It's funny you should say that. So, all of a sudden, as she's crying, I wish I had a rope uncoils itself from the clouds, drops down in front of her, and she shimmies her way up.
A gift!
This is the road to heaven. This isn't a good title if it's a rope to heaven. I just think that would be a better title.
I agree. I also, personally, I'm terrified of being underground. So when people are like, oh, I was so embarrassed, I wish that the earth would just open up and swallow me. That's worse for me. That is 1,000 times worse than any social anxiety I might have. So this is a really good alternative.
Yeah, going up.
Yeah.
Yeah. Always up and out, baby.
I feel like also this is a really great opportunity to use a slide whistle. Like you could just like grab onto the rope and like tug it twice and then be pulled up to the clouds and be like,
oh yeah, it goes up. I thought you were going to like...
Oh, like, no.
Okay.
No, I don't want to go down.
I know. That's why I thought the slide whistle was a really weird choice for you. Max's, like, #1 comedy bit, like, peak comedy for Max is a slide whistle.
Slide whistles are the funniest fucking thing on the planet.
She's a simple lady.
I am. Honestly, it's less is more as far as comedy is concerned for me. And
if you guys want the P.O. box address to send Max a slide whistle, if she had 100 slide whistles...
If I had a wish, I'd wish for a whistle.
And my 2 front teeth.
I used to have a massive bag that I would carry around with me instead of a purse when I was in high school, and I would fill it with props. You know how you do when you're a cool, hot teen. So I had like little, you know those little, not poppers as in drugs, because I wasn't cool, but poppers as in like the
firecrackers that you throw on the ground?
Yeah, like little like tissue paper things that are full of like some kind
dynamite?
of... Yeah, they're full of C4 on the ground, and they make like a popping sound. I used to have a box of those, and I had a slide whistle, and I had a... what else did I have? Oh, I had one of those buzzer things that you put in... Just a bunch of weird props that I would carry around with me, but I used to have a slide whistle that I kept in it, and whenever there was an awkward situation, I go...
The buzzer thing. Remember when Brenna, we have this friend named Brenna who is a cool hot goth, but she also has the personality of like a really sweet golden retriever. She's the best. But she one day reached into her pocket when we were in class and like screamed and pulled her hand back out, and somebody had put in a prank pen that shocked her. Like buzzed and shocked her in her
That's such a good prank.
backpack. But we were all like, we're in grad school. We're getting our master's degrees. And so, naturally, she looks at me and goes, Janey, what a weird prank. And I was like, I'm sorry. What? Because I didn't even realize what had just happened to her. And so then all day she went around being like, Janey won't admit it, but she weirdly pranked me with like a prank prop pen. And I'm like, that wasn't me. And also, what reputation have I set up for myself that
an accurate one,
that nobody is believing me that I didn't go out and buy a weird shock pen to prank Brenna while we were in our master's class?
No, you did.
I didn't. It wasn't me. This is me going on record, Brenna. It wasn't me.
Sorry, we'll get back to the story in just a second. I'm really sorry, guys.
You know what? This is our podcast. You take a break. Go make some tea.
Or we'll kick your ass.
We'll fucking kick your ass and your mom's ass.
I went through a period in college where I would get drunk and do pranks.
You're still in that period.
Yeah.
What?
I'm not as often in situations with people with large groups of people that I can mess with. I'm usually just drunk at home watching movies with either you or Alex or both.
The pandemic has really hit us all hard.
Yeah.
You can donate to www.sortofthestory.pandemic.org.
But I went through this period where I would get really drunk and do pranks on my friends at parties when I was in college, and they weren't good pranks. They were really dumb pranks, but I had a great time. And there was this one time where we had these two friends, Jesse and Brian, and I was at a card table with the two of them and like one other person, and Brian got up and he was like, hey, make sure nobody takes my seat. And I was like, excellent, it's my time. So I got up and I took the chair that he was sitting in and I put it in a different room. And then I went back and sat at the card table and kept hanging out with Jesse and the one other person that was there. Mm-hmm. And Brian came back from the bathroom and he was like, Jesse, what the fuck did you do? And Jesse was like, what do you mean? And he was like, yeah, haha, somebody took my seat. Jesse, this is it. Can I sit down? This isn't funny. And Jesse was like, I didn't do it. Also, Jesse was very drunk, so he hadn't seen me do it either. So he couldn't narc on me. He was like, I don't know what I guess I don't know where it is. And he was like, Jesse, you didn't even come up with a lie to cover your weird... like, come on, man.
This
like,
does also sound...
just get my chair back. And Jesse was like, I don't know where your chair is, man. I was like...
But then the joke had gone too far and you're like, I have to go.
No, I was just sitting there drinking at this table and like looking at my phone and trying not to absolutely bust my head open laughing.
This also seems like a type of thing that Brian would weirdly get mad about, right?
Yeah.
Like
absolutely.
He's like not in on the joke. He doesn't like your antics, young man.
Yeah, and then he was like, all right, fuck you guys, and just like walked away and hung out with other people, and I was like, ha, pranked.
Max was like, pranked. Your friendship is ruined.
No, they were fine. I was just, and then
classic prank.
Yeah. And then, like, 2 hours later, Brian went into the room that I had put the chair in, and he was like, oh, what the fuck?
And he sat down in a room by himself. Like, I'm sitting, I don't care.
This is my chair. Anyways.
Okay, so, sky prank. A rope falls from the sky.
Cool.
She shimmies her way up that rope, and she finds herself in heaven. Or kind of. She's in a cloud, okay? Who's to say if that's heaven or not? Maybe, like... Not all clouds are heaven, you know what I mean? And far off in the distance, she sees that there is, like, a ruined village, which is an insane thing to see in heaven. It's sus, to say the least. Mm-hmm. So she's like, I mean, I might as well walk that way, because I can never go home again, because I broke a jar. So, this is child's mentality. So she walks and walks, and eventually she makes her way to this ruined village, and she sees, sitting amongst the rubble, is an old woman. And this old woman's like, hey, what are you doing? And she's like, walking. If you have a moment, I can tell you my story. And she's like, okay, well, come here and sit on this rubble with me. And she's like, got it. And so she starts to tell her the tale of how she got there. She's like, I broke a jar because I was distracted, and then a rope fell from the clouds, and then I climbed it, and here I am. And the woman's like, you didn't have to sit for that. That's a very short story. You really drew that out. And so the woman tells her, like, you know, well, as she's telling the story, she's also being really, really polite. Like, she's just been taught to respect her elders. And so, like, the whole time, she's, like, very considerate of this old woman. And she, like, you know, offers to help her out if she needs anything. She's like, I see you're sitting in this rubble. Can I help you get somewhere? Are you looking for something? And so eventually this woman's like, you're a really nice girl. So I'm going to give you some advice. You're going to keep walking that way, in that direction, over there. And she points, because you guys can't see me pointing. And she's like, and eventually an ant is going to crawl into your ear. I'm sorry to tell you. You're not allowed to swat him away, though. He gives great advice. She's like, okay, like, in my ear? And she's like, yes. And she's like, is it, like, how big is the ant? Does that matter? Do I want it to be big or small? Like, oh, God. And so she's like, cool. And then she says, you know, good luck. And so she goes on. She says goodbye very politely, and she goes on. And eventually, an ant crawls up her leg, and she has the instinct to brush him off. She's like, ew, ew, ew. But she remembers what this old woman says, and unlike Affiong in the last story, this girl is very obedient. And she's like, okay, this is fine, and I like it. And the ant crawls its way all the way up her body, and then sits himself in her ear. And so then it's like, hi! She's like, hello? And it's like, let's keep walking. She's like, okay, which way? And he's like, that way! And she's like, well, I can't see you either. So they just keep walking. Eventually, they get to a village, and it's surrounded by a thorn hedge, which lots of the villages are. Like, you know, just like a hedge made of thorns.
Sure,
Picture it, if you will.
I won't.
And the aunt whispers, because she's like, if I'm here, I might as well go in. So she goes to go through the gate, and he's like, no, don't go in. Just sit out here. Just sit. And she's like, oh, okay. So she sits down, and she waits. And after not very long, an old man comes out and is like, what are you doing? And then the aunt's like, answer him politely, but tell him the truth. Or tell him that the aunt tells him something crazy. She says, well, I broke a jar, and I came up here, and I got up to this rope, and I saw this old woman, and, now I'm walking here. And I'm in search of a baby. And I assume she's like, a baby? Yeah, a baby. And it's like, yeah, big one.
The biggest baby you got.
I want the biggest baby you've ever seen.
I'm looking for the boss baby.
Kingdom heaven babies. And so the old man's like, oh, yeah, sure, yeah, we got those. And she's like, you do? So he invites her in, and she follows him in, and he takes her to a hut where there are some women, and they're working. And so he introduces her to the women, and then he leaves. And the women are like, so you're here to help? And she's like, I'm here to help? And the aunt in her ear is like, yep. She's like, yep, I'm here to help.
Is this a joke about labor?
Ooh, babies.
Yeah, the women are laboring.
I was trying to think of what pun an ant and labor could possibly. I was like a working ant.
Yep.
Which is Working Girl starring an ant.
The prequel to Working Uncle.
So they give her a sharondo basket, which is just one of those beautiful woven baskets. And they're like, go get some of the new season's mealies, which I thought meant mealy worms, and I was excited because I love worms. And it turns out that's just what they call corn, which was less exciting when I got to that part. But she does this with no hesitation. She's like, absolutely, yeah, I'll do anything you ask me to.
Like cornmeal? Is that?
Yeah, it must be.
Okay.
And so she's like, cool. So the aunt tells her, like, hey, when you get there, we're going to pull up all of these corn stalks, but we want to do them very carefully because we don't want to ruin their garden. So we're going to do it one at a time. And every time you pick one up, you're going to put the mealie in the basket and you're going to arrange it so that basically, like, they're right up against each other. She's not wasting any space. Mm-hmm. So she gets as many as she possibly can into the basket. Like, she has, like, an impressive amount of mealies in there, but she only pulls up what she needs. And so... which is cool. It's a cool gardening tip for all you garden heads out there. So she goes back, and the women are, like, really impressed. They're like, wow, you did that so fast, and look how many you got. And, like, the garden looks great. Like, good job. And then they're like, okay, so for your second task, you just need to grind the corn, and you're going to make a porridge. And so she's like, okay. So she goes there, and now the aunt is, like, ratatouilleing her. Like, it's sitting in her ear, and it's like, all right, so take a couple of the mealies, and you're gonna, like, put them off to the side, a couple of the grains, and then she starts grinding them, and then when the porridge is complete, she adds some of the grains back in, like the ones that she hadn't ground, like, she adds them in whole, because apparently that's, like, a classic heaven recipe. Like, sure. They just, like, porridge with some unground grains. Keep that in mind if you ever meet an angel.
For, like, crunch?
Could be. Yeah. Yeah. Porridge is like boiled. You could just put ground stuff. Anyway. So The women are delighted, and they're like, you did such a good job, and you know exactly how us heaven folk like to eat this. Like, how'd you know that? And she's like, there's an ant in my ear. And they all start laughing, like, and you're funny. And she's like, yeah.
And there's an ant in my
And
ear.
also there's an ant in my ear. And so she goes to sleep. The next morning, the elders come and wake her up, and they're like, okay, well, let's go. And so they take her to this house, and it's like a really beautiful house. And in the house, on the floor, there are rows and rows of babies. And they're either wrapped in a red cloth, like wrapped, bundled up tightly in the red cloth, or they're bundled up tightly in a white cloth. And so immediately she's like, which one would you pick?
Red?
Those sexy, sexy red babies.
Yeah,
right?
I want the evil baby.
I want the sexy ones wearing their red cloth.
Yeah.
And so she's like, I'll take the sexiest baby you have. And so
And they're like, we're not giving you any babies. That's a weird thing to say.
And you've been cut. That's our final test. And so she goes to pick up a red baby, and the aunt's like, what are you doing? You freak. She's like, what? And he's like, no, get a white one. And she's like, fine. And so she picks up one of the ones wrapped in a white cloth. She's like, I guess it wasn't my first choice, but sure. I wrote in my notes, the aunt told her to stop being an idiot. As if she could know. And so she chooses her babies. Then all of the villagers come out, and they put jewels on her, and they give her all these beads and all these cloths and just anything that she can carry. They just like laden her down with all this stuff. And so then they're like, okay, bye. And she's like, oh, okay, bye. And she's just like hobbling with all of the weight of this stuff and also carrying a baby. But she makes it home really easily. Does she have to go down that rope with the baby? Maybe she strapped it to her back with all of the cloth.
Or maybe she set up like a pulley and like a swing. You know, like when you have to, like when someone has a broken leg and you have to get them out of a hole. Yeah. And you have to like make a sort of like a slip knot that goes around their.
Maybe she and the baby were bungee jumping.
Ooh.
Anyway, extreme baby. So they do make it home though really easily. She reaches her village, and she sees that her mom and everyone else is working in the gardens, and so she goes to her hut like secretly, and she sets everything up really nice around the fire, and then she takes the baby and she hides in one of the inner rooms. I don't know why she hides, but like she does. So the mom, after she's done in the garden, she sends this girl, has a younger sister. She has 2 daughters, right? This is the older one that got the baby. Mm-hmm. She has a younger daughter. And she had sent the younger daughter ahead. She was like, go put on the cooking pots. And the younger daughter's like, okay. So she runs home. And when she goes in, she sees that like where there had been like an empty space, now there's all of these like jewels and cloth and stuff. And she freaks out. She's like, oh my God, what is this? Somebody was in our house. So she runs back and tells her mom. Everybody comes in. And then they find the girl and her baby. And they find like all this stuff. And they're like, what is this? This is amazing. And so they all sit down and they listen to her tell the tale of how she like climbed up the heaven rope and she met the old lady and she did all this stuff. And they're all like, you did so good. Like, you went to heaven and then came back and look at all the stuff you have. Like, that's amazing. And you were so obedient and nice. And they're all really impressed. Except for the little sister, who fucking sucks. She's a huge bitch. And she's jealous. And so she's like, I'm gonna go on this adventure too. I'm doing it. Yeah, it's this. Every time. And so she's like, I'm gonna go recreate this adventure and I'm gonna get an even sexier baby. Because clearly there are sexier ones out there.
My baby's gonna make your baby look like a hag.
Your baby sucks. Compared to my future baby. And so she starts on her way out, right? Well, the older sister sees that she's about to do this. She's like, I know my sister. She's gonna try to do this. And so she runs after her on her way out and she's like, listen, hey, I had some advice for you that's, gonna help you. And the girl turns around and is like, you went up there without any unsolicited advice. So maybe let me do the same and back the fuck off. And then she keeps going. And the girl's like, shit. You're not like going to the store. You're going to heaven. Nobody was offering unsolicited advice before I climbed the rope. But
did she want a baby? I'm sorry.
I feel like it's a weird gift, right? It must have been like significant. Like
it feels like she went up without really a problem.
She didn't have anything. She didn't want anything. She wanted to get away from her family.
Yeah, she didn't have a problem though. She wasn't like, oh gosh, I wish I could have a baby. And everyone was like, you'll never have a baby. And then like a rope descended in front of her. It was just she has separate issues that aren't solved by this.
Yeah, really strange.
Super weird.
And so strange in the fact that it must have been really significant and like to have a child. Like that must have been like just the goal for everyone. Whereas like in a lot of the European fairy tales, they come back with lots of like gold, or they are married to a princess, like.
Yeah, either that or having a vase has the same gravity as a child.
You dropped your child. Oh my god, it was a metaphor.
Oh god.
She killed her baby, but came back with a heaven baby.
Oh.
Oh no! It was the same baby.
Oh no.
I really did think that they were going to give her another pot or another jar. And then I was like, oh, maybe when she gets back, it's going to be like the Snake Prince. You know how the snake turned into a necklace?
Yeah.
But no, it's just a baby. It doesn't turn it into a jar, which would have been a step down from human life, right? I guess it depends on how nice the jar was. Or how bad the baby was. Anyway, so the little sister goes to the heaven rope somehow. Does she go up there and scream, I wish I had a rope? Like, how does it happen? But she gets up to the rope, or maybe it's still there. Now there's just a permanent heaven rope. I don't know, I'm asking you. She climbs it easily, because she's buff as hell. She gets all the way up to the top, and she passes by this old lady sitting in the ruins. And the old lady's like, hello, like, how are you doing? And she's like, hey, fuck you, and stop talking to me. No unsolicited advice. And you look shitty, and I hate your ruined buildings. And she keeps walking, and the old lady's like, well, fuck you, you're gonna die in there. She says this. She says, you are gonna die. And instead of assuming Heaven Grandma knows what she's talking about, this bitch goes like, oh yeah? Who's gonna kill me? Who? I'm fucking insane. Like,
I'm crazy.
She actually does say, and who's gonna kill me? And then waits for like half a second and says like, that's what I thought. Like, that's her exact response. She's insane. Wow. Who's gonna kill me, Grandma? You? I'll fucking murder you.
And what granny army? It's also weird that this old lady is sitting in a pile of ruined buildings. And she's like, come here, tell me your story. And then the first daughter tells her story and then is like, anyways, bye. I feel like she wanted to be asked what was going on with ruined buildings.
Yeah.
And like, so, but like, what?
I know. Nobody's even asking her why she's sitting amongst the rubble.
Yeah.
Like, I would like to know.
I would like to know.
Hey, Heaven Grandma, tell us. We would love to interview you. Come on the podcast. We'll do a whole interview show.
DM us on Instagram. We would love to have you on as a special guest.
And Heaven Grandma, be sure to like and subscribe. And ring that bell. Okay, so she keeps going. She walks past this ruined village. Now she's continuing to walk. She feels like something itchy on her leg, and she's like, oh my god, it's an ant! And so she starts trying to, like, swat it off, but it, like, dodges all of her, like, attempts to, like, swat it off, and it rushes up to her ear, and it's like, hey, it's okay, I know your sister, I'm here to give you advice. And she straight up is like, no one asked you for your opinion, ant! He's like, we don't have to be such a cunt! Oh my god. Jumps out of her ear. Like, he's pissed.
I assumed that the older sister kept the ant, but
it never says that she gets rid of the ant, but the younger sister does scream at the ant for to mind its own business. Wild. She's so aggressively unpleasant, you gotta respect it. She doesn't, like, discriminate.
Yeah.
She's just a bitch all the time.
Respect.
So she enters the village. She comes to the village, right, with the thorn hedge. And instead of sitting on the outside, because the ant isn't there to tell her how to be respectful, and she's not interested, she pushes her way through the gate and just starts screaming like, hello, I'm here. You guys are fucking rude. Nobody's even greeting me. I thought this was heaven. And so, like, an old man pokes his head out of, like, one of the houses, and he's like, hello?
He's like, it was heaven until you got here.
Why are you ruining heaven for us? Who sent you? And so he's like, oh, what are you doing here? And so she's super rude to him. And so she's like, just take me to the ladies. And he's like, okay. A please would be nice. I live here. So he, like, takes her to all these ladies. And the ladies are like, hi. And she's like, I'm here to do the chores or whatever. Like, I don't fucking care. I'm here to do what you had my sister do. And they're like, okay. So they give her one of the baskets, and they're like, take this, go gather the mealies. And then she's like, fine. And, like, before they can finish what they're saying, she, like, grabs the basket, and she starts just ripping stalks out of the ground, like, left and right. And she just, like, destroys their garden. She leaves it in ruins. And so then she brings it back, and she's like, and they're like, oh my, okay, well, now you gotta make the porridge. And she makes it terribly, because she doesn't know that secret heaven trick of leaving some extra crunch. And they're like, this is awful. And then she goes to sleep. They're like, you can sleep over there, I guess. And they're still being kind of nice to her, but, like, she's ruining their lives. She's been there for 24 hours and she's ruined heaven. And so she wakes up and they take her to the hut and they're like, hey here's where you pick the baby, I guess. And she sees all the babies laid in red and white. And the aunt isn't there to tell her to, like, pick the white baby. Problematic language. The white clothed baby. And so she grabs one of the sexy, sexy red babies. And it explodes.
Oh my god! Oh my god!
This is what I wrote word for word. It immediately blew up. It blew up like a fucking Fast and Furious movie. And now here's some side notes.
Was that the end?
This is from a Google search.
Did she die?
This is from a Google search, Max. 33 explosions with cars were in the Fast and Furious movies, all of them. And 22 explosions were without cars.
How many were with
throughout the entire franchise? Too Fast, Too Furious, which is the second in the franchise, was totally explosion-free for some bizarre reason, except that I think the reason was that, like, Vin Diesel wasn't in it, so no explosions for you.
Was there an explosion in the first one?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
And Fast 7 contained more explosions than the previous 6 films combined.
But did she die?
That's 55 explosions in the Fast and Furious franchise. That's so many. Justin Lin, you son of a bitch. Anyway, yeah, she died. Her bones are all wrapped up. They gather them, and, like, heaven sends a man down to deliver them to her family. She's dead now. She's getting delivered in a bag. And as the man is walking with his bundle, they pass the aunt. And the aunt laughs and screams out, "Who is laughing now, bitch? Don't you wish I had been under your chef hat?" And so the guy is like, "She can't hear you, she's dead." And he's like, "Yeah, she is." So the aunt's not having it. He's a real poor sport about this.
Is the aunt the old lady?
No. Oh, and I also wrote, this is a quote from my notes, "and told the bones she would still be alive if she wasn't such a cunt." I'm using the C word a lot today. The old woman was a little bit nicer. So then they pass by the old woman in the ruins, and she cries, "My daughter, haven't you died on account of your wicked heart?" Which is also kind of a fuck you, but in nice old lady grandma language.
Yeah, she's like, "Oh, bless your heart."
The man drops off the bones at her mother's hut, and her family's like, "What is this?" And he's like, "Your daughter." And they're like,
"Bone delivery."
"Oh my god, these are just bones."
Yeah.
And the sister, the older sister, has the last word in the last line of the story, and she says, quote, "She had a wicked heart, and that is why heaven was angry with her. She made heaven mad." And that, Max, is the very shocking story of the road to heaven.
I didn't think Heaven would have so many explosions. Is Heaven also directed by Justin Lin?
Yes. Oh god, I hope so. That's my heaven. My heaven is directed by Justin Lin. And I get a Ride in the Rocks backpack. No car.
Oh my god.
I was reading this alone and I screamed when the baby blew up. The baby explodes.
Why would they... Okay, just in terms of nursery planning, why would you put a bunch of baby-shaped bombs next to a bunch of regular babies? Okay. That feels like a mix-up waiting.
So this does make you wonder, is it a baby-shaped bomb? Or is it an explosive actual baby? Or is the baby on top of a landmine? Now in movies, this isn't in real life, which my dad is a humanitarian D minor, and this is his biggest pet peeve in all movies.
It's nice that you know your dad's key.
What?
In the key of D minor.
Humanitarian D minor. So he, like, for his whole career in the special forces, and then, like, afterwards working for the military, and then now the US government, he, like, knows landmines. Like, he does all of the disarming of them. He can identify them straight away. Like, he teaches people how to remove landmines. And now he's the program manager in the Middle East, giving funds, basically, to countries who need to have landmines removed. So that's his job. Mm-hmm. His biggest pet peeve is when movies are like, you'll see like a soldier walking and then they'll step and you'll hear it click and everyone's like, oh, don't move your foot. Like, if you put your foot up, it's gonna explode. And then you'll see them doing the Indiana Jones thing of like putting a different weight on there so that they can keep it down. It doesn't happen. If you step on a landmine, it blows up. There's no trigger. Like, there's nothing else. Yeah. It just blows up.
It wouldn't make any sense.
There's no such thing as a landmine that only blows up if you take your foot off of it.
Yeah, that doesn't make any sense.
Yeah. So maybe, though, this is like a movie, and the babies are, all the red babies are on landmine triggers.
Alternatively,
and if you lift them up, you die.
The possible way to close this plot hole here is that
I wouldn't call it a plot hole. It was very well explained. The aunt said, don't pick the red baby.
It could be
you?
something where there's like a ripcord attached to the baby, and there's bomb underneath,
Yeah.
right? And so when you pick it up, it like pulls the ripcord and blows it up.
Yeah.
You know?
Classic trigger baby.
Or, alternatively, the whole nursery is a big, complicated bomb, and the red babies are like the red wire that you can't cut, and the white babies are the ones that you have to cut to deactivate. And maybe there's like a 1-to-1 where like you deactivate one red baby by successfully selecting one white baby.
And then that baby gets to go on and live.
Both babies, I would hope.
Yeah, they take that red baby out and they're like, you've survived because somebody climbed the rope to heaven and saved you from your weird explosive hell.
There's so much about this that I don't understand, but I'm really focused on the fact that they just had a bunch of babies on the floor and some of them explode.
And some of them are exploding babies.
This doesn't sound like heaven.
No, there's literally a pile of rubble where your grandma sits. That's not heaven.
That's crazy.
Who is she in the grand scheme of things? I am just fascinated with this view of the afterlife. And also, I love the ant. I think personally, like personality-wise, I am the ant. Like, I want to be helpful. I want to be there for you. But if you piss me off, I'm gonna laugh at your bones as they drag your body by. I will feel zero remorse for you.
Yikes.
Yeah. Anyway,
wow.
The Road to Heaven.
The Road to Heaven.
This book is great. I can't recommend it enough. Epic tales.
Wild.
All right, you want to take a quick break?
I do. I have to think about this.
Yep. We're gonna go think. Bye.
Alright.
Okay.
Alrighty.
Okay.
So, I have for you 2.5 stories and a lot of insane rambling.
I'm fucking here for it.
All right. So this week, I wanted to do a Greek fairy tale. Not Greek mythology, but a Greek fairy tale. I ended up going a little bit into Greek mythology anyways because I'm crazy. And yeah.
I feel ashamed to know that I have never thought of anything about Greece, like, except for mythology. It makes sense that they also have fairy tales.
I didn't know this. Aesop was
Greek?
Yeah, he was an Egyptian slave in Greece. So Aesop's fables are considered Greek fairy tales.
Whoa.
Yeah.
I've
Fun
also
fact.
never heard of Egyptian slaves in Greece. I've only ever heard of Greek slaves in Egypt.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I just need to know more about history, it turns out. I'm just dumb.
So, I decided to do a Greek fairy tale.
Uh-huh.
And I went on this is going to sound really sarcastic, and I do not mean it to be. I went on this really great fairy tale resource website called fairytales.com with a Z.
Oh my god, it's so great. It actually is.
Please stop.
Stop.
Stop doing air quotes. No, it's called fairytales.com, and they have a massive selection of fairy tales with a little bit of context about like where they come from.
Oh, nice.
They're separated out by where they come from in terms of geography, as well as like the time period and who wrote it and stuff like that. A lot of things that are available just available for free to read online, they have put into their fairy tale system. So it's a really cool resource. If you're ever looking for a weird fairy tale, that's a good place to go. Fairytales.com with a Z, right? Yeah, fairytales.com. Or for some reason I was like maybe .org, but no, it's not. It's .com.
It's .gov.
.edu.
It's from Fairy Tales University. University.
And then the university, instead of a Y at the end, it's an I with a little heart over it.
Aww, cute.
So I got this from fairytales.com. This is from a collection of fairy tales written by Theodore P. Giannakoulis and Georgia H. McPherson. I couldn't find a whole lot about either of them, but what I could gather from the context is that Theodore P. Giannakoulis is from Greece. He's from this very small town in Corinthia, which is one of the regions of Greece. The foothills of Mount Kylene on the Gulf of Corinth. This tiny town is called Petsa. So he's from this area, and this is a collection of fairy tales that he was told primarily by his grandmother, but also he moved to America as an adult, and so a lot of Greek people that he met in America had similar stories and stuff like that. So over the course of his life, living in Greece, living in America, talking to people about Greek folk tales, and especially in this case fairy tales, he just collected these stories. And then as he collected them, he worked, I think, with Georgia H. McPherson to translate them into English.
Nice.
So this book was published in 1930. It's called Fairy Tales of Modern Greece. Again, Theodore P. Giannakoulis and Georgia H. McPherson. So already very, very interesting. A couple of things that I didn't really know going into this. I can't remember any of them. Yeah. Nope. Can't come up with anything. Okay, so you're going into it as blind as I did.
I'm so excited.
Okay, so again, the town of Petsa, it's on the Gulf of Corinth in the region of Corinthia. It is described as being in the foothills of the Kylini Mountains, or the foothills around Mount Kylini. And it's sort of like towards the water of the Gulf of Corinth. Just so you know, in terms of geography.
This is where Corinthians in the Bible come from? It has to be.
I don't know. I
to.
do know that it's...
You heard it
close.
here first.
Yeah. It's close to where Corinth is in Greece.
That makes sense that Corinthians would come from Corinth.
It would. I don't know the Bible.
What?
I know we talked about this, but I'm only familiar with the Book of Steve. Anyways, so in the town of Petsa, I have two stories here. The first one is a sort of a more traditional fairy tale from this collection of fairy tales. This story is called The Fairy's Theft.
Okay.
And it's a diss track. So one day, in the town of Petsa, which is again right at the bottom of this mountain range area, a lot of shepherds and shepherdesses live in this town, and they bring their sheep up to the mountain to graze, and then they bring them back down the mountain at night to be stabled. One day, all of these shepherds and shepherdesses and the herding dogs and everything come running down the mountain way too early in the day, and the three shepherds in front are carrying something between them, right? And they run down the mountain, and everyone sort of sees them coming and runs up to meet them at the edge of town. And the shepherds are all out of breath, and they're like, "Quick, get the priest!" And they realize that what they're holding between them is the body of a girl from the town. She is still alive, but she is pale as anything, just completely pale, limp, not reacting. So the people in the town go and they get the priest, and the priest meets them at this girl's family's house. The girl's name is Tasula. So the priest meets the shepherds who are bringing Tasula to her mother's house, and the shepherds really quickly explain to Tasula's mother and the priest what happened, right? They say that the shepherd who is holding her up for the most part says he was watching his sheep. He said, "I was watching my sheep and I saw something white under a pine tree, in the shadow of a pine tree. And it caught my eye and I looked. And I went and I got the attention of Giannis and Stephanos, which are the other two shepherds that he with, and he gestures to them. He says, I got their attention. Mm-hmm. And I said, hey, is that what I think it is? And Giannis and Stephanos agreed that it was a fairy ring. Mm. So they looked over, they saw this pine tree with a ring around it and something white underneath of the tree. And as they looked closer,
like a ring of mushrooms.
Not necessarily. Okay. Not super clear on what the ring is, but it's basically like an area where the veil is thin, between here and fairies. And they look closer and they saw that Tasula was in the middle of this ring under the pine tree.
Nope.
And she looked like she was fighting. And so they ran over to her and they got to her. And by the time they got there, she was sort of on the ground, passed out, the same condition that she was in now. Mm-hmm. And so they quickly gathered her up and brought her back into town. As they're explaining this, the priest is waving incense over Tasula's body, and he's chanting, out evil, and she doesn't react. Mm-hmm. And so the priest is like, okay, I need to do some more research before I can help with this, and so he leaves. The words fairy ring immediately set all the townspeople talking. They're like, oh my god, it's the fairies. Okay. Mm-hmm. It's the fairies. And something important to know is that the local tradition is that Mount Kylini is fairy territory, basically.
Fairy-tory.
Yeah, fairy-tory. It's fairy territory, and so you have to be very careful when you're on Mount Kylini and any of the mountains around it that have snow-capped peaks, because that's where the fairies sort of rule. And so the shepherd says that she was up by Mount Kylini, and everyone's like, oh my god, fairies. So they all start gossiping. The priest comes back and he tries again with the incense and he waves it over her and he says, out evil, out evil, out evil. Still no reaction. So at this point, the gossip sort of gets to the oldest woman in town, whose name is Grandmother Adamas. And Grandmother Adamas immediately comes to where Tasula is being kept. And she says, I think I know what this is. I had something similar happen to me when I was a young maiden. And so she explains when she was very, very young, she was a beautiful young shepherdess. She was known leagues around as being very beautiful, which okay, Grandma.
Grandma is like, okay, the first thing you need to know is I was hot as shit.
I was the hottest. I was a doll.
My boobs pointed up.
That's the first thing you got to know from this story. So Grandmother Adamas tells the story. She says that she was very, very beautiful young shepherdess when she was younger, and she escaped the fairies herself. She was drinking from a Creavreshe, which is a spring under a pine tree.
Oh, okay.
So she leaned down to drink from the cool water that was underneath of a pine tree. And this word, which I'm going to have to look up because I feel like I spelled it wrong, translates to fairy spring. And so she was drinking from the spring and suddenly she heard this music around her approaching, and then she saw all these fairies come and they came down this hill, and she realized that the hill that she was on was a Neraidorahe, which is a fairy hill.
Cool.
So she realized that she was accidentally, like, perfect bait for fairies.
Yeah.
And she,
like, she was lured in on purpose, though. Like, that all seems very tempting.
Yes, yeah. I'm going to read the description from this book, which, again, this is all available online, so if you want to take a look. She found herself on the side of the Neraidorahe fairy hill before the great black openings like monstrous jaws. Through one of these, she was led to a garden within the mountains where flowers and sunshine and the splashing of fountains made the heart glad. There was music and bird songs, chanting voices, and the buzzing of bees, while streams of silver, crystal cataracts, and youths and maidens in grateful dance were a delight to the eyes. Fairies with white veils who were subjects, and fairies with red caps who were princesses.
Oh my god, they're gonna explode. Don't trust them.
Spoilers, Janey.
Oh my god, I'm sorry. This story is also written by Justin Lin.
The Fae and the Furious.
Oh, no.
Episode title.
It's that.
The Fast and the Fairyest?
Fast and the Furriest.
Oh no. Fairies with red caps who were princesses grouped themselves around a throne of brilliant jewels. The fairies who had escorted the shepherdess led her by flower-strewn paths to the throne where she saw the queen of fairies. So, the reason why I wanted to read that directly is because it describes fairies from several different traditions, which I will come back to later. But
yeah, it sounds very much Midsummer's Night Dream.
Yeah. It's a lot.
Yeah.
There's a lot of... I ended up going down a rabbit hole about depictions of fairies. So I'll come back to that. Just a little ribbon on the finger there for you. So Grandmother Adamas told this, and she said, she was taken by these fairies through a cave up to basically the top of the mountain where the Queen of the Fairies was waiting for her. And the Queen of the Fairies asked her if she would like to be a fairy. She was like, look at this beautiful place. Wouldn't you love to be here forever? It's the best. It's great.
Mm-hmm.
It's you could be so hot forever if you wanted. And Grandmother Adamas says, thank you so much. No disrespect, Miss Fairy Queen. Miss Fairy Queen, yes.
Majesty.
She is like, no offense, but there's actually a young man, my lover, who is waiting for me at the foot of the Sotera, at the foot of the mountains. And the Fairy Queen is like, cool, cool, cool. So grab her. And all the fairies are...
No.
And the fairies are like, sure. And they all go to grab her and they start they start to strip off her clothes to give her a fairy gown, which I assume will keep her there forever.
Yeah.
And they rip open her shirt and they see that she has a small bag around her neck, which was given to her by her uncle.
Mm-hmm.
And in the bag is incense from Mount Levanos, a candle stub that was burned at Easter before a portrait of the Virgin, a leaf from a wild fairy plant, a petal from a 100-petal rose, and an amethyst stone. So she has this little, magic bag around her neck. And her uncle gave it to her when she was baptized to protect her from all evil, basically. So
I want this bag.
Right? So the fairies rip open her shirt and they see this bag and they all immediately hiss and recoil and they're like, no. And one of the fairies says, we can't take her. We'll be cursed. And the Fairy Queen is like, we will be cursed. We can't take her. And so they all are very upset.
Like, but did you notice her boobs point straight up?
They're all like,
wow, up to the sky.
But what if we can't take her, then we can't look at her big fairy boobs.
Damn it!
Dang it!
We lost another good one today, boys.
Yeah, so they go to release her, and sort of by way of apology, they give her the finest cream and honey from Crete to eat on her way back home, and then they spirit her back away to where they picked her up from. And basically, the point of the story is that she's like, yeah, I was protected by this bag. The fairies can't take you if you have this bag. But if something similar happened to her and she didn't have this bag, then she might be like this.
Yeah.
Right? It doesn't emphasize this in the story, but it is important to note for later that the fairies tried to take her because she was hot.
Okay.
Important.
Good.
So...
Noah goes aloud, they say.
Yes. So,
classic fairy lore.
Yep, truly.
Mm-hmm.
It's where we get the term fugly, actually. It's so ugly that the fae won't take...
ugly.
Fairly ugly. So, while Grandmother Adamas is telling this story, the priest comes back for a third time, and he waves incense over to Sula again, and...
Dude, your research just told you to repeat what didn't work?
Yep, he's like,
what
did you try
do?
turning it off and back on again?
Unplug it. What?
And so the priest comes back for a third time as Grandmother Adamas is telling this story, and he waves the incense over and it says, like, out, evil, evil, out. And Tasula's eyes flutter open. Third time's the charm.
Okay.
As they say.
No, they do say that. I forgot.
Yeah. So... And she's like, oh my god, how did I get here? What? I was just at the spring. And everyone's like, oh god, you were at the spring? We just heard why that's bad.
Damn it, Tasula. You so hot Tasula, dummy.
Yeah, Tasula tells everyone that she was at the spring. She was at a spring under a pine tree on the side of the fairy hill, right? And she heard this music coming and everything like that, and all these fairies came and danced around her, and they were like, come, dance with us. And she was like, oh, no, thank you. And then they formed a dance circle around her so that she couldn't get out, and were just, like, aggressively crumping at her so that she couldn't escape.
Come on, dance with us. Come on.
And then they moved the dance circle slowly, like, into the cave and up the mountain, and she was like, oh, let me just, can I just...
Excuse me, I just want
to... Can I just get through?
This is awkward. What are we dancing?
So she's stuck in this dance circle, and they dance circle her up.
This is my nightmare.
Yeah, right?
That's terrible.
They crump circle her up to the top of the mountain.
A bunch of aggressively hot people crumping at you, and you can't get away? No, thank you.
Yeah. So she gets up to the very snowy top of this mountain, and at the top she sees this woman who looks like the other fairies that are around her, but she's taller and more beautiful than any of them. Presumably the fairy queen again. And she gets up there, and all the, like, fairies are like, ah, da, 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 ah, da, ah, cha. And they, like, present her to the fairy queen. And the fairy queen is like, and then she, like, motions one of her advisors over and, like, whispers in their ear, and they, like, whisper back. And then they go over to the person who was, like, leading the dance circle and is like, pss, 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 and they're like, pss, 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 pss. And then they, like, that guy goes back up to the fairy queen and is like, pss, pss, pss.
And she's like, hello?
And she's like, and then she turns back to Tasula and is like, yeah, thanks. And then she waves her handkerchief at Tasula. What? She waves her handkerchief at Tasula, and a hole opens in the ground beneath Tasula, and she drops back through the mountain down to where the spring was, right? And she lands at the spring, and she's like, whoa, what just happened? And then she goes to get a drink of water from the spring again. she's like, come on, Tasula.
A goal.
And as soon as her lips touch the water, she, like, passes out, and then she wakes up in this room full of people, right? Which is why she was so disoriented, because she was like, I just tried to drink from the magic spring that I got kidnapped from before. And
she wasn't even being held by the fairies. She was just passed out. So the priest didn't do anything?
I think that the second time the fairies were like, okay, we're not going to come get you again, but don't do that anymore. And then, like, knocked her out until someone said 3 out evils over her or something.
Yeah.
So she tells this story, and she's like, I can't believe I got away from the fairies. And everyone's like, oh, that's so good for you that you got away from them.
But does that mean she was
so well? And one of the neighbors says, quote, she doesn't know. It was only her soul that they took with them. And then the second neighbor says, no, they would have stolen her body too. If she had been more beautiful, we would never have seen her again.
Wait, so now she's just an uggo with no soul?
Yeah.
God.
The fairy queen was like, hey, can we toss this one back? She's like messed up in the face, man. I don't want to have to look at that for the rest of eternity.
She's gonna clash with my color scheme? I don't know. I just feel like we've had an aesthetic here, you know?
So that's that story.
That is a story written by a bunch of mean girls.
Yep. They're just like, anyways, if you're an uggo, you can't come to our fairy party.
This is like, no, but like, honestly, doesn't this seem like a story that was originally made up to be really mean to a girl in your school?
Like I said, this is
a story about a girl named, and her name is like Vazula, and they're like, Tasula.
Yeah.
It's not you, don't worry, it's not you. But she was too ugly to hang with literal monsters.
She was so ugly that they sent her back. They were like, is this still within the return
and everybody
period?
in town knew it. The end.
Yep. So this gives us kind of an idea of...
This isn't what I ordered.
This looks a lot different from the pictures that I saw online, so I'm thinking I'm going to have to return it. It just,
Gross.
It's not what I was picturing. So this gives us an idea of kind of how the fairies operate, right? Yeah. Which is important.
No uggos.
For the second tale.
Okay.
So, as I said, Theodore Giannakoulis is the author of this. He was told a lot of these stories by his grandmother Adamas, the grandmother from the story.
Aww.
Right?
Cute.
Adorable, right?
Yeah.
So...
Hey, it's weird that he talked so much about how his grandma's boobs pointed straight up.
He's like, she used to have spectacular titties, and that's something that you have to know about my grandma.
Her knockers were knockouts.
So, this next story is called The Fairy Hunter.
Okay.
Grandmother Adamas used to tell her fairy stories, and everyone, all the children, and most of the adults in the town would come and listen to them because she was a born storyteller, right? These stories are called paramythia, which is just fairy stories, basically. And she would tell them so well that it was as though she was summoning pentamorphes, which is like sort of images that you can see as someone is telling a story. They're like ghosts of a story as someone is telling it, right. Which is a really cool thing. Yeah. I had to look it up because it doesn't explain it in this. But so she was such a good storyteller that you could almost see in front of her the things that she was describing.
Love it.
That's how great of a storyteller she was. And she would tell all these stories about the fairies that lived up on Mount Kylene. And everyone was just enthralled with her stories. She had a half dozen, and the kids would ask her for specific ones, and she would tell all these amazing stories, right? Every time that she told these stories, she would warn the children and the adults that were listening not to go up to the snowy mountaintops, because that is the realm of the fairies, right? You don't go up there unless you have protection.
Like
and
your little bag of charms.
You would think so.
Oh no.
The protection that she says you must bring with you if you are going to the top of the mountain is a gun.
She's a stick of dynamite, my friends.
You gotta bring.
And also you gotta do your makeup real bad. Make yourself look just like real
just
unappealing.
Like awful. So she's like, if you want to go up to the top of the mountain, be sure to protect yourself against the fairies that you bring a gun.
Okay, kids, everybody bring their Uzis. Oh, I see you, little Jorge forgot your Uzi. So you can borrow one from the Uzi pile.
So Theodore remembers on one occasion when he was a young man, hearing his grandmother Adamas tell these stories. And she reminded all the children at the end of the story, if you go up to the mountaintop, be sure to bring a gun.
Where's your Glock?
So he woke up the next morning thinking about guns. And he was like, I need a gun.
God damn it, Grandmother Adamas.
So he was like, well, where am I going to get a gun? And then he remembered.
You can get them in the U.S. with very little checks. So he got his U.S. citizenships. Whole hear us out.
So he was like, where am I gonna get a gun? And he had been spending his time helping this older woman in town. Her son lived in America, and she wanted to send him letters, but she didn't know how to write. So Theodore had been helping her by, she would dictate letters and he would write them down and then send them over to her son in America. And the first time that he went to her house to help her with her letters, he saw that she had a gun hung over the fireplace. And she explained that it was her husband had passed away, but it was his gun from the War of 1821, which is the War of Greek Independence.
Huh.
And it's called a carabiner gun. I actually did some research to see if I could figure out what this was. I think what they're talking about is actually called a cariafile gun. That was it's the like rifle that was used primarily by the Greeks in the War of Greek Independence. But oftentimes it was because it was such a necessary part of the revolution, they would name their gun. So I think the gun is actually named carabina, but the model is a cariafile.
Cool.
Again, I went way too deep on my research for this. So this old woman explains that the gun is a carabina that her husband brought back from the War of 1821. And he is like, noted. So he decides to play the long game, and he continues helping her with the letters. And then the following spring, she's like, you've been such a nice young man. You've been helping me write all these letters. I want to give you a gift. What would you like? And he's like, gun. And she's like, I'm not going to give you that gun. It's
good.
Old and rusty, and it wasn't all that good to start with, and you don't need a gun.
And also you're a child.
And you can't, I'm not giving you a gun. And he was like, well, I'm
just
not going to accept.
Just take one from the teacher's discard pile.
He's like, I'm not going to accept any other gift, and it's rude of you not to give me a present now that you've offered me one, so give me gun. And she's like, okay, fine, here's gun.
Good God, that did not take much convincing at all.
So she gives him the gun.
Mm-hmm.
He takes the gun home and he hides it in the barrels in his basement in the cellar so that Grandma Adamas doesn't see it and ask what he has a gun for. And over the course of the next couple of weeks, he cleans it, he polishes it, takes it apart, puts it back together. He goes to the store under cover of midnight, I assume, and buys powder and shot for it.
Stores?
I don't know.
Where does he live? In New York? Weird, rural Greece?
So he goes and he gets powder and shot for it,
mm-hmm.
and he keeps the gun hidden in the barrels in his cellar, right? And finally, once he has all the things he needs to make the gun work, he decides, because it's kind of a hike to Mount Kailini, so he leaves first thing in the morning, and he gets out of his house, and
little shithead.
He has this gun slung over his shoulder, like Peter and the Wolf style,
mm-hmm.
and he's sort of patting himself on the back. He's like, good plan, good plan.
Shoot a fairy.
And his mother pokes her head out of the house and she's like, Theodorica, where did you get that gun? My little son Theodore, where did you...
Who gave you a weapon?
Why do you have gun, Theodore?
That's a firearm, Theodore.
And he's like, don't worry about it. And she's like, where are you going with that gun? And he's like, out, Mom. And she's like, okay, well, don't try and shoot it. And whatever you do, don't go up Noraidarahe, which is the fairy hill. Evil will come to you.
Dude, this mom, obviously he's gonna do both of those. Why would he have he's walking in the direction of the goddamn mountain, Mom.
Why else would he have a gun, Mom?
Literally.
And he's like, yeah, Mom, I won't. And then he keeps walking, right? And so Theodore walks through town and he gets to the foothills of the mountain and he walks for a little while and he's so excited because he's like, I'm going to go see all of these fantastic things Grandma Adamas told me about at the top of this mountain.
Mm-hmm.
All of these amazing the places that the fairies fall, all these beautiful gardens, beautiful people, all this stuff. I'm going to go see it. I'm so excited. And he's kind of daydreaming. And he gets into the mountains a little bit and he sees coming downhill the mountain towards him is a man known as Uncle Costas, who's nobody's uncle, but he's everybody's uncle.
Yeah.
He's just someone that everyone in the town knows. Uncle Costas.
Sure.
He's a shepherd. He's just brought his sheep up to the top of the mountain and left them with his shepherds. And he's heading back down to get his breakfast. And Uncle Costas is like, hey, Theodorica. Theodore's like, no, I'm busy. And he puts his head down and he keeps walking. And Uncle Costas goes, I know you, son of Pericles. Hey. You think I don't know you can hear me?
I'm staring right at you.
And Theodore is like, oh, and he turns around, he's like, hi, Uncle Costas. And Uncle Costas is like, where are you going with that caravana? And Theodore is like, to the Nereidarahe to hunt fairies. Why? And Uncle Costas is like, oh no. Okay, don't do that. Stop right now. Stop. Okay, when I was a young man, I had the same idea that you did. I was like, I'm gonna get a gun. I'm gonna go up to the fairy mountain. Maybe I'll meet a fairy. Maybe we'll have sex.
And then I'll shoot her?
And he was like, and you bring the gun to protect yourself. But I'll tell you what, I was older than you. I was better than a gun with you, and I had a better gun than you. And I went up,
I was better than a gun than you.
I was better with a gun.
And I
had a better gun.
Okay, sorry.
And so he's like, I was all around more prepared for this. And he was like, and I got fully kidnapped by the fairies for a year and a day. And the only way I got out was because I was very, very lucky and very careful. Okay? So you do not go to that mountain. Let me just, you know what? Let me tell you what happened to me when I was a prisoner of the fairies so that you know how dangerous it is to go up this mountain. And Theodora's like, fine, okay. And so Uncle Costas goes and he's holding a cane. He's a very old man. He's holding his cane and he like goes and he settles himself down on a big rock and he's like, so. And Theodora's like, the fairies won't scare me. I will fire at them and chase them back into their caves. And he runs past Uncle Costas now that he's sitting down and like has set his cane down and can't chase him. He's like, okay, I'm gonna do it anyways, bye.
Little shit.
And he runs up the mountain and Uncle Costas is trying to get up really quickly, but by the time he gets up, Theodora's so far up the mountain that he can't possibly catch him, and Theodora looks back down the mountain at Uncle Costas, and Uncle Costas is just shaking his head and like heading back towards the village. He's like,
to go tell his mom.
And so Theodora's like, yes, I am in the mountains. This is perfect. I am gonna go fuck/kill a fairy.
Oh my god.
One or the other, depending on how things go.
Maybe both. I'm a psycho.
Yeah. And so he gets about halfway up the mountain, and at this point it's noon. And he looks down on the village, and he sees that the noonday train, which passes by the village, is coming through, and it chugs up this white smoke, right? And then he sees that the smoke starts coming towards him from the train. And I had to look this up. You've heard of Greek nymphs, right? Yeah. Nature spirits. The fairies that he's talking about are actually nymphs, right?
Oh, okay.
That's what they are. Nereidarahe comes from the same root word as...
Naiad? Nereids?
Naiads, Nereids, and Oreads. Oreads are mountain nymphs. So
cool.
Oreads are specifically what he's dealing with. Oreads, mountain nymphs. Mount Kylene is named after a mountain nymph named Kylene, who was actually the mother of Lycaon, who is known in Greek myth for trying to feed Zeus his, like, a human? Yeah. So
his son, right? There's 2 stories.
Yeah. It's messed up.
Trying to feed Zeus their son.
Yeah. So she's the mother of Lycaon. She is an Oread, and so that's who Mount Kylene is named after.
That's cool.
So this is a mountain of Oreads, mountain nymphs. Mountain nymphs in mythology a lot of times manifest as white whirlwinds, and so he sees.
Whoa.
Yes, he sees this white puff of smoke coming up from the stack of the train, coming up the mountain towards him and beginning to swirl. And he watches it and he feels the wind pick up around him. Mm-hmm. He's like...
So does he know it's a train?
Oh my god, oh my god, oh my god! Huh?
Does he know it's a train? Or he thinks... Okay.
He knows it's a train, but he's watching the train smoke
depart from the train and come towards him.
Yeah.
Ooh, great.
Like as though it is something coming for him. And he sees it coming and he goes, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god. So he picks up his gun and he runs back down the mountain. And he runs until he gets home, and his mother is gone and gotten grandmother and Thomas, who, like, whacks him around the head with a flip-flop, I'm assuming, and is like, do
my grandma used to do it.
Go up and taunt the fairies! And he's like, yes, Grandma, I'm sorry, Grandma! That's the end of the story. It's just him getting all the way up there and then chickening out. As well he should.
Can I tell a really quick story from my grandma?
Yes. I have a little bit more context for this after, but yes.
Only because this is what it reminded me of. My grandmother from the Philippines, I don't know how many times I have to say that on this podcast. My grandmother's from Antipolo, and she firmly, until she died, believed in fairies. She called them the little people. It's the same thing as the wee folk, as, it's just, they're little fairy creatures. And she fully believed in them, to the point where she does have this one story, and this reminds me of Uncle Costa saying that he disappeared for a year. Mm-hmm. She had a classmate before she stopped going to school. I think she stopped going to school in 3rd grade. That's when the Japanese occupied the Philippines. And so, but up till the 3rd grade, she was going to school. And she had a classmate, and every day they would, all the kids would walk out, and then they would separate to go their separate ways. And this one little kid, this little boy, would have to walk further than the rest, and he would walk along this road until he got home. And One day, they all separated, they said goodbye, and that little kid never made it home. Like, he just didn't show up. Mm-hmm. And so immediately they all put out a search party for him. They spent several days, and then he was just gone. Not seen again until 2 weeks later. 2 weeks later, he was seen by a farmer who was, like, pushing his, like, plow or his tractor, something like that, along that road. And he sees this little boy walking along the road in his school uniform, looking clean, totally fine, and was, like, walking. And so he stops and he's like, hey, we've been looking for you. Where were you? And this farmer was like, hello? Your parents have been searching for you. And the kid opened his mouth to speak, and every time he tried to speak, he was speaking backwards. Like, his whole language and the intonation and the cadence, everything was just like somebody had hit reverse. And so, super creepy. The farmer was like, something's wrong with this kid. So he put him in his, whatever he was driving, and he brought him home, and this kid could not explain what had happened to him because he was speaking backwards. And my grandmother said it took them a year to reteach him how to speak his language again. Like, literally just a year of teaching him how to speak Tagalog again.
Oh, amazing.
And when he finally, was figured out, he was slowly starting to reveal what had happened. And his story is that he was walking home and he saw a little person in the grass, and they were so little that they were like literally like hiding in the grass, and they were like waving at him. And so he was really curious. So he walked over and they were like, come with us, follow us. And so he followed them into the woods because he's like 7 and why not?
Yeah.
And he follows them until he gets to this big tree, and he climbs into this big tree, and all around on either side, like everywhere, there was all these little people, and they were dancing and playing. And so he was dancing and playing with them. He was having a great time. And like they had a big feast and everything. And then he said he talked to the king. They had like a king sitting on like a throne in front of everyone. And the king called him over and was like, hey, we asked you here because we need salt. And he was like, what? They're like, salt. We like salt. We love it. And we need you to get us some. You're a human. And so that's what we need. Bring us salt. And he was like, oh, I'm like a little human, though. Like, I don't look like it to you, but like, I don't have access to just salt I can bring you. I'm a child. And they were like, oh, okay, well then you can leave. He was like, okay. So then he left, and he said that it felt like he had been gone for an hour. So he had been thinking like, well, I do have to get home. My mom's going to be really upset that I was gone this long. But when he was walking along the road, it had been 2 weeks. Like 2 weeks had passed since he was in that street. And that's my grandma's like first-hand, second-hand account from hearing it from this kid. But like the way she told us that story was like, we would just sit there like fascinated, and there wasn't like a wink. It wasn't like she was winking at the adults being like, I'm gonna tell them my fairy story. Like, she told it so seriously. Like, she used to draw me pictures of little people, like all of her, like, she used to draw in like envelopes, just like the little people. They were always wearing little mushroom hats. They were like hiding underneath acorns, or like they were just the cutest. But amazing. Yeah, she was obsessed with it. Anyway, that's what that reminded me of, and I'm sorry that was a little break.
Oh, no. Absolutely, because that's what I was thinking about this whole time.
The little people.
Was your grandma and the little people. So I got too far into the research for this, and there's a reason. It's because this book is not very well known, not very popular. It also, in a lot of ways, is a kind of a unique folkloric source. So you have someone from Greece who's being told these stories by someone, and then as an adult communicating them to another person based on their memory, including the stories that his grandmother told him, as well as the stories that he heard from Greek expats in the US. And he also, I mean, he's telling it from memory, he's also telling it to someone who's translating it into English. So there's a lot of stuff that's kind of lost, and I had to do a bunch of weird research. Which was really, really fun, but also very difficult. The word in the book for the little amulet pouch that she had with her that protected her from the fairies, she calls it a felatare, F-E-L-A-H-T-A-R-E. And I couldn't find a single thing with that name online. I tried translating it, I tried looking for it in other sources, couldn't find anything about it. The closest thing I could find is a phylacto, which is recorded in Greece, but it's specifically an Eastern Orthodox Christian amulet, which you carry with you. Again, has been recorded in Greece, but came over after sort of the Roman Empire fell with all of that. A phylacta usually, according to this website, which is, I didn't write down what it's called a phylacto, contains either flower petals from the epitaphios carried on Holy Friday night, cotton wool with oil and myrrh from church, pieces of olive branch or basil that have been used by a priest in some ceremony, dirt from the grave of a saint, or burnt candle shavings from a church altar. So this is all close to what would be in a phylacto.
Cool.
And usually a phylacto is like a tiny little thing. It's like, it's like the size of a quarter that just has like some remnant of a Eastern Orthodox Christian religious ceremony. But usually you would like safety pin it to the inside of a pocket or something like that.
Cool.
So this is a little bit different though, because hers actually reflects more stuff from the bag that she has reflects iconography from more Roma cultures, which would have come over in the same sort of social tide as Eastern Orthodox Christianity.
Yeah.
Which is really interesting. And it's also the area of Greece that had the Gulf of Corinth, so it's right near the Peloponnesia.
Mm-hmm.
So it's an area that had a lot of like port cities and stuff like that, where especially after the Roman Empire period, you would have a lot of trade coming in from the east, from Russia, from Eastern Europe and that area. So you have more of these traditions coming in, which is really cool. It's also the idea of these fairies who live on the snowy mountaintops is related to a Roma tradition of the Ursatori in Romani folklore, a group of 3 fairies or female spirits. 2 of them are good spirits while one tries to harm people.
One of them always lies.
Yes. So that's related to Roma traditions in that way. But also, as I said, Mount Kylene, named after the Oread Kylene, who, is a mountain nymph. Mount Kylene is the birthplace of the Pleiades, which you probably know from the constellation, but they are also the people who tutored Dionysus when he was a baby. Just some weird stuff. But yeah, Nereids, nymphs, Oreads, Naiads, Meliae, and the Dryads are all the nymphs that are in Greek tradition. So the Oreads are specifically mountain nymphs. I'm trying to find what else I researched because I went totally crazy. Yeah, and then you have fairies with red caps and fairies with white veils who are subjects, which is closer to, on the one hand, like the seelie and unseelie courts of, like English and British folklore, as well as the idea of like the red caps, which comes more from, not Eastern Europe, but like, where am I thinking? Like Norway, and that area is like the red capped fairies that are more dangerous and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Which is also in the US, the Nain Rouge is a red capped gnome that causes a bunch of trouble.
I didn't know we had gnomes.
Mm-hmm.
That's cool.
The Nain Rouge, it comes from French tradition. Oh God, where is it? I feel like it's in Detroit, has the Nain Rouge. Anyways, I went way too deep on this. I didn't realize that anywhere in Greece would have fairy tales, but it's really cool that it's like emerging of like
these are actual
fairy tradition.
Fairy tales.
Exactly.
Like, that's cool.
It's really cool that it's emerging of like fairy stories from Norway and that area, as well as like the depictions of fairy forces from like Roma tradition, and it includes iconography from Roma tradition and also Christian tradition from like Eastern Orthodox Christianity, in addition to the fact that this is an Oread in the Greek mythological tradition and stuff like that. It's just, and like the priest comes in and he is Roman Catholic and he isn't able to help until the very end, and like just this huge combination of cultures that is just absolutely fascinating. Yeah. So like I said, this isn't a super well-known book. I ended up having to do a bunch of first-hand research in order to completely understand what was happening, and I don't.
Great book, though.
I'm having a wonderful time. I actually ended up reading most of the stories in this book, which are all available online, and it's fascinating. It's so much fun because it's mostly just this guy talking about his grandmother's stories, and they're so cool.
Yeah.
So, anyways, long story long, absolutely love this.
I love that. That was fantastic. I am obsessed with that. I love fairies.
I got too far. I Pepe Sylvia'd it. I was like, and then the Roma tradition, and it comes through here, and there's these the Oreads, and then they go through, and oh my god. Also, a fun story. Sorry, I did a lot of research for this. Mount Kylene. Legend has it that blackbirds on the mountain become white and are impossible to shoot during the daytime.
Oh.
Which is cool. It's like they turn into Oreads themselves because they turn into like the white smoke that you can't catch.
Makes me want to go to Mount Kylene.
I know. And I looked up the town that this is. This town is called Town of Petsa, which is in the foothills. It's a very tiny town. It has a population of like 600.
So we're not all going to flood there.
Yeah.
They can't handle it.
It's crazy that it's just such a tiny, tiny little view of this tiny little folkloric region that happens to be sort of the crux of a bunch of different historical, ancient, and modern traditions and stuff like that. And especially the fact that this is a town where almost all of the men in the town participated from this period. This book again was published in 1930. So the men in the town in this period had all been to the War of Greek Independence and stuff like that, which is just like, that means that there was also all these traditions coming from other areas of Greece and everything like that being brought in and becoming part of the folklore of this teeny tiny area. I love it. I love it. I love folklore.
Lovely. Yeah, that's fantastic. It makes me wish that book, there's not like a print version of that book.
There is.
Oh,
I ordered it, but it's also available online for free.
Amazing. Well, we could. Is he still alive? Do you know?
No, he passed away in 1964.
Okay.
I came across his obituary. I assumed that he would have a Wikipedia, so I kept like searching for his name and stuff like that. Couldn't find anything on him except for online free copies of this book and his obituary from 1964.
Somebody asked us in our review. They left us a lovely review on Apple, which you guys please do that. Review and rate it. It would help us. But they left us a review asking us to put the names and the sources in our show notes. And so we're going to start doing that, putting that in there. So
yes,
that will be in the show notes this episode. We're going to tell you how you can find this.
Yes, absolutely.
Exciting.
Yeah. Anyways.
Good job.
The Fae and the Furious.
The Fae and the Fairyest. Yeah, we'll see you guys next week.
Yeah.
Episode 20, baby.
Episode 20, the mythology episode.
Ooh,
we're going to do some...
get mythical.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
All right.
All right.
Bye. Let's just test it. You said you went too far.
I went too far.
Oh no.
Yeah, I went too far. I Pepe Sylvia'd. And the worst part is that I had 3 pages left in this journal, so all of my notes are like scribbled in the margins of my like story summary.
Like a psycho.
Yeah, it's crazy because I didn't have any more pages.
Oh my god, you ran out of pages.
Yeah, I had to write on the back cover.
Wait, can I just hold this? Your little notebook is first page this podcast? Oh my god!
Mm-hmm. It's every episode we've done.
Why am I so emotional about this? You should put a review of this notebook and say it only lasts for 19 episodes, not even a full 20. And then don't put any caveat to it. People are like, what does this mean?
Yeah. Anyways,
not enough for
listen to sort of the story
2
on Apple Podcasts, Google Play, and...
Dozen? 2. What's a 10?
10? Decade.
2 decades. Not even enough for 2 decades.
Tens.
Okay.
Not even enough for 2 10s, and the 2 10s are us.